You trying to sell your soul?
Yeah, no, I sold that years ago, buddy.
Nice. I love that, man.
Man, I just got up at like 40 minutes ago because I was awake from 3:30 until 6.
Why?
Like I just couldn't sleep, man.
For real?
Just laying there, yeah. And then I finally fell back asleep, so I just got up like 40 minutes ago.
Mm, yeah, that's happened to me quite a bit. Like, so I've noticed that if I am ever anxious about stuff, then for
Yeah.
sure 3 a.m. Like it's almost like clockwork.
Yep.
And I know that this is like a thing because like on YouTube, there's all these like, here's a prayer to say at 3 a.m. I was like, wait, so this must be a problem for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I find these like sound bowls therapy or like meditative music and just and then I
Yeah,
put my AirPods in and or like a
that
there's
that
there's something the brain massage where it's different frequencies that
yeah. I also like the fact that like every time you look, there's like a new colored like that sounded super wrong. Let me change. Let me reframe that. There sounds like
God.
there is a new color of sound. Like what I mean to
Yeah,
say is like yeah, that's what I meant to say.
that's
That
awesome.
it's there's brown noise, right? There was like gray noise. I recently saw like pink noise. I was like,
Yep.
what is it? You know? So
I
they're
use that
just adding.
when I'm traveling
Yeah,
for work and I'm in hotels. I get a sound app and it's got all that white noise, brown noise, pink noise. It's just
yeah.
different frequencies of the
That's
static.
all it is. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's just funny, like how people keep adding colors to it. Like, so because I mean, I think we all heard of like white noise for the longest time, but like
yep.
all these new noises that have come out recently, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. The white noise stuff like does work, but I think I'll tell you something that works for me really well is one, you have to actively tell your brain stop thinking.
Right.
You're not gonna solve the world's problems tonight. Number one, you're not gonna think your way out of whatever that is, you're thinking about. Like it's just not gonna because your brain is like it's so crazy too because like the thoughts come so fast at 3 in the morning, man. It is
Yeah.
insane.
I saw gosh, I don't know if it was a podcast or I read an article, and I'm trying to look it up right now. But there was some guy, some sleep specialist who came up with this concept of having a mantra that you repeat over and over in your head, and you
Yeah,
will fall
yeah,
asleep. Where his was like, "I am at peace," and you just close your eyes. I am at peace. And I'm telling you, dude, it works. If I can
yeah.
remember to do it,
That's the thing.
otherwise
You
I'm
have to
sitting there,
like
I'm thinking, and I'm thinking,
actively.
and I'm like, yeah. And then when you remember to do that,
Yeah,
it
it is
works.
so interesting concept, right? So like, let me ask. So you have to tell yourself to do that. You have to be like, hey, stop, like stop thinking, and do whatever different. Like so, like I've done this where I just kind of do the box breathing. Like you've heard of the box breathing where
I've heard of it,
four
but I'm not
seconds,
really
four
familiar with
seconds,
it.
4 seconds. Yeah, so you
Yeah, yeah,
inhale
yeah,
for
yeah,
four.
yeah.
So it's a box, right? And so that works for me as well. But the key is to like stop thinking, right? And it's funny though, like so I was explaining this, not this, but something similar to a friend one time, and he said, "You ever thought of it like if you can think about the thoughts that you just thought about, then who is thinking those thoughts?" And I was
Mm.
like, that's very interesting if you think about it that way, right? Like, whose
Deep.
thoughts are those other thoughts that you are able to like think about those thoughts and then tell those thoughts to stop, right? And I was like, yeah, it was too much for an Indian lunch buffet dinner conversation, but yeah, but yeah, it was there's something to think about from that perspective. Like, I mean, there's this whole concept of like mindfulness, right? Is
Yeah, I went and watched the monks walk for peace yesterday, and
yeah, tell me about that, man. How was
it's
that?
all about well, it's all about mindfulness. That's what they talk about. So I was just interjecting that. Yeah, that's a hot topic for me right now. Now so they're walking. There's I want to say maybe 12 to 18 of them, and they're walking from Texas to Washington D.C. It's 2,300 miles, 120 days. They walk about 30 to 40 miles every day,
Holy shit! Yeah,
and it's just to bring awareness to peace, to remind people to be peaceful and mindful, and So they're Buddhist monks. So obviously they embrace the teachings of Buddha and just mindfulness and peace. And they're just walking from town to town, bringing awareness. And it was really cool. I mean, you just feel an energy when you're around them, or you feel a peacefulness, or I don't know how to describe it, but they're just such peaceful people. They have, they after they get there, they have lunch, and then they sit on their chairs up in front, and one of them talks on the microphone, and they'd go through like a chant and like a
Really?
meditation, and he takes questions, and there's just a, I don't know, there's just a vibe of just tranquility and peacefulness. So it was cool. We took the kids, we drove an hour down there and waited for them. They they changed their route. We were on like the main road, and they said they were going to go through a neighborhood, so we went into the neighborhood. So they like walked right in front of us, and then because we were walking from there, the stage was maybe a block that way. We just walked with them the whole way up to the stage, and it was, I don't know,
Nice.
it was just very cool, and a really cool experience. So yeah, mindfulness is one of their tenets for sure.
Crazy. 'Cause I saw the video that you took. So you guys were, yeah, you were literally right next to them while they were
Yeah,
walking.
that's right. Yeah, they were right there. Yeah, the
Yeah,
kids
that was
liked it.
pretty
They
cool.
thought it was cool. Our 7-year-old calls them the little peace men. That was funny. She's like, and then
That's
when we
funny.
went to see the little peace men.
Yes, that's funny.
So I'm happy to say that that's probably a core memory. That's great.
For sure, for sure. What a cool way, man, to do it. Yeah, it's actually really funny because like the more you think about mindfulness, like what I was thinking about is like what you kind of tolerate, right? Like, because like you're thinking about the things that you think about, but then if you think about the stuff that you probably tolerate that you probably shouldn't, which is
Mm.
like you you kind of tolerate. I'm really guilty of this. I will happily sit there and run like 500 sequences in my head. What's that quote, man? I should even look this up. Who is
I'll
it?
look it up.
There's a quote that goes like, I've seen like something. I don't know if you'll come up. It's something like I've seen many like terrible things in my life. Most of them were in my head.
Okay.
I think it's like I'm sure you'll find it, but like um, but yeah, like I definitely tolerate that with myself, right? Like
Oh,
I know I'm not supposed to.
It's Mark Twain.
What's the quote?
I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened.
Yeah,
That's funny.
right? But that's so
Yeah.
true, though. That is
I'm
so
sorry.
true.
Then there's Michel de Montaigne. Montaigne, is it French? I don't know. My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened.
That's so true. Both of them. Yeah, I completely agree with this. Like, I think we can all relate to this to some. I think most of us can relate to this. I think some people are pretty good about keeping things positive in their head, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really good about trying to like think of like Monica makes fun of me all the time because if like the kids are like if someone one of my kids is like oh my hand hurts, she's like you probably think it's cancer, don't you? And I'm like I'm already there, like I'm already.
That is funny, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, thankfully, I don't know. I've just never had that. I'm a very even keeled kind of. I don't know how to describe it. I don't have. I actually just made a video presentation yesterday about imposter syndrome and overthinking things, and I'm very lucky like that because my wife is very much like you, where if somebody sneezes, they've got cancer. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I've just
yeah.
been very lucky. Like, I don't know if you call that stoic or what you call that, but I've just always been very matter of fact and able to not. I don't want to call it overreacting because I mean, there's plenty of times when that stuff there actually is something going on, but um,
Yeah, but
I
I
don't.
think
I
like
just
there's a but there's I think like there's definitely a detrimental effect to jumping to the worst case situation, right?
for sure.
Uh, for sure. And then but
Well,
like
I always
on
wonder
the
how can you be
yeah.
happy? How can you be joyful if everything that happens you're focused on the absolute worst case scenario? So And I don't know because I don't feel like that, but I wonder that when people are like that, I'm like, how can you possibly be happy? Every single situation, you focus on the worst possible outcome. It's mind boggling to me. I cannot relate to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me,
So I mean,
Luther, how do you deal with it?
just as at this age, I'm not that bad about it. But like, to be fair, like there are definitely things that I think there are positive outcomes for. But I think there's definitely an aspect of worrying that I could do without, that I just tolerate, right? I tolerate, and I mean, I tolerate. I want to say I use the word tolerate because like I'm trying to think of a better word. Because okay, I think that I use the word tolerate because it's something that you shouldn't be doing. It's
Hmm.
something that's not really, it's not beneficial to you in any way possible, but yet you do it. So in a way, I am tolerating my own behavior, right? Like,
Hmm.
because if
Hmm.
somebody else did that, like, I mean, I know that's not, you don't usually use the word tolerate about yourself, but think about like if somebody else did that and you allowed it to happen, then people would say, why do you tolerate that? Right. So I feel like you should use that
Yeah.
for yourself as well.
I think that's a good word. And I think it's just taking, like you said, being mindful of it, taking control of it, and somehow you rewiring your brain, which takes time, but it can be done through exercises and recognizing when it happens. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not an expert. I just know that it can happen. I don't know how to do it, um, but it's just recognizing that it's happening and stopping yourself and be like, okay, I'm doing it again, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and
Similar
and
to how
the
I was
the more
saying
you do
about,
that, it's the more you do that, it's like a muscle. You know, you're going to build up more tolerance to the tolerance, um, and it's going to build up over time. But it's just making that mindset that recognizing it. But I mean, it's easier said than done.
for sure. And this is, I mean, I was tying this back to the wake up in 3 a.m. thing, right? Like where
Mm,
you wake up and your mind is just going, and you're like, this is not beneficial. Like if I can just stop my mind from going, I can go back to sleep, but you just tolerate. And it's almost like,
being awake, yeah.
yeah, it's like, what I'm saying? And you just, it's almost like this is always my explanation on why I would let the thinking go. Because I was like, oh, this is how I become prepared.
Mm,
People say like, hey, you need to be like, to be a strategic thinker. I'm like, oh, I can just think through everything. And I'm like, oh, this is not strategic thinking. Like that is
yeah.
not the definition of strategic thinking. Yeah. So it is kind of
That's
crazy.
funny. That's actually one of the imposter syndrome personalities or avatars that Dr. Valerie Young, I interviewed her. She's like the expert on imposter syndrome, but she identified 5 different types of imposter syndromes, one of which is the expert, where you're always thinking you need to know everything. You're always taking in information. You're watching YouTube videos. You're learning. You're reading books. You're going to workshops. You're watching webinars. You're trying to learn everything you possibly can and thinking and thinking and thinking, but never taking action and never doing anything about it. You never feel like you're ready. I know it's a little bit different, but it's the same kind of idea where in your mind you think you're doing the right thing. You think I'm strategizing. I'm thinking about this. I'm going to be ready to go instead of
Yeah.
just saying, "Yo, stop," and take action, which would be go to sleep or take that leap into what you're going to do in your business.
Yeah.
It's very
I,
very interesting.
but I guess like tying that back to our age group, right? So imposter syndrome exists, I would say, at all age groups, right? I would also overthinking or there's a really good phrase I can't remember. It's something about like you're trying to predict the future every time, right? And I can't remember what exactly that's called. There's a certain phrase that goes with that, but um that exists I think in every age group. But then
Mm-hmm.
like when you add maybe the weight of like where we are in life, we're like 40 and above, I think it just hits different. Because then you also have like some amount of regret tied to it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which then so I think that going back to this concept of like what do you tolerate that you shouldn't be tolerating, I think that's where this overthinking stuff could definitely be super detrimental the older you get,
Yeah,
because now
yeah,
you're carrying two burdens at one time.
and running out of runway. day by day.
Which is, I guess, like in a way, if you told yourself that, that in itself is not helpful, right? That you are
So I
kind of
do
running out.
that is something I do tell myself, but literally every day.
Three in
I
the
don't know
morning.
when I started thinking about it. Maybe when I quit my job and started doing my business full time after a couple of years, I started thinking like, now I'm in my 40s. I got 3 kids. I don't have a salary. I'm going to retire one day. Do I sell my business? Now I'm at 51, and every day I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to be doing this 20 years from now. I need like an exit strategy. So that does weigh on me in a way that it never used to. But I think when you hit like 50 and retirement age is 65 or whatever it is, you
72.
start thinking like, well, shit, I've got 15 years, 14 years. Like I got to build something that I can get out of here. So that does weigh on me where I see the runway shrinking every day, every single
Mm,
day.
mm.
So yeah,
But
that is very detrimental to me.
but if you think about it, like I think it's kind of how you define what is the runway for, right?
Hmm.
Like if the runway is for building something that you can sell, and because also, like, I think if you think about it like this way, right? So there's just to unpack what you just said. If you took your business and you said, hey, I want to build something that I can sell that'll ultimately fund my retirement at age, let's just say 65, um, then the question is not so much like, do you have that now? I think the question is, how big does
How
that
do you
need to
get?
be? Well, how big does it need to be, right? Like, I mean, if you're looking for like a $20 million exit, okay, maybe the runway is kind of thing. But if
Yeah,
you're looking at
yeah,
like a $5 million exit, then it's not so bad, right? Like, so I think
right.
part of that is also you have to be very practical in defining what that end state could and should look like, and because that takes some of the weight of of your shoulder. A mentor of mine very long ago, man, like he said something to me. He said, you should always know what your number is. Like the number that
Right.
just keeps things status quo, right? Like not where you're like saving and not where you're investing, but like just like, you drive the same car, eat the same food, whatever, do roughly the same things, right? Like maybe go out for dinner once a week, whatever those things are, not extravagant, but like, what does status quo look like and what is the number for that? If the moment you do that math, your brain actually switches to this mode where you say, like anytime you look at something, you're like, worst case, I just need this much.
Right.
Like worst case, this is how much I need. And even if it dropped a little below that, life doesn't change drastically. Like it's not like my kids are eating rice and beans, right? Like, so you kind of figure that piece out and that helps a lot. And so my point of that is like, I think when you kind of think about like, I'm running out of, or the runway is getting shorter, I'm running out of time, those things, I think having a definition of what does first of all, what are you aiming for? And then defining the time around that is a lot more helpful than an ambiguous, like, I'm running out of time for something that I haven't even defined yet, you know?
Yeah, I think that's really important because there's no plan. It's just an ambiguous idea, like you said, and that's one thing I've never been great at as a business owner. Is I am not great at having a business plan or knowing the numbers. Like my focus is get revenue, get revenue, get revenue. You get revenue, things are going to be fine. But if there's not like a specific number or a specific goal in mind, you can't really make a plan or take steps to get to that logically. Like you've got to take that perspective, which I've never been great at it because I've just always been like really positive with everything's great, man, everything's great. Like I'm so joyful and grateful for the life that I have, and it's just like every dollar that comes in, I'm just like, this is awesome. But there's no plan to like, this is the number. If we hit this number, then we can put this over here, or here's the goal. We've got to save this much for retirement. Like, I think that's a really good point because I know that that's definitely one of my weaknesses is planning. I mean, when I've worked with business coaches, that's why I hired them because every 2 weeks I'd have to come to them with my P&L and know what my numbers are and have that like that I needed that accountability. So I think that's a really good point and definitely something I need to do for sure.
But it applies for all of us. Like we're all guilty of this, right? Like in the sense that, um, if you look at people, like I have a friend who has been saying for the past, I would say 5 years, he's like, Hey man, I sit down once a month with my financial planner. We look at the numbers, and yep, retirement is in 5 years. That was like a few years back. Now retirement is like next year for him, right? And I'm like, oh, that that totally makes sense, right? Like they've been defining what retirement is for probably the last 10 years. They know exactly what it's like. They know what steps need to be taken. Now, like I mean, all plans falter, right? For one reason or the other, things happen, the economy fails, whatever. But at least the things that the old adage, right? There's things you can control and there's things you can't control. Like the things that they could control, they did to the best of their abilities, and so
Hmm.
now he's sitting at being able to retire next year, right? But I think the key takeaway, whether it's a great retirement or not, is that they defined what good looks like almost a decade ago or more.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
my in-laws are actually like that too. Like if I think about them, like they were just teachers, but they always had like a. It felt like the amount of time that I spent with my father-in-law and them. It always felt like he had defined this is what good looks like. This is when we retire, and they just kept marching towards that. And I'm sure that made it a lot easy. Not simpler, but it made it simpler, not easier. That's what I meant to say. It
Yeah.
probably made it simpler, not easier, right? And to retire like as two teachers with a pretty nice life, like I think that's a huge win. Like if you can't think of, like I can't think of a bigger win than that from that perspective. So I think
Yeah.
it's
My
the
my my
definition.
father was a teacher, and my
Yeah,
parents are the same way. Like they always had a plan. They're always meeting with their financial person. They knew when it was happening. They knew how much they had like, and I'm just, I'm just not wired like that, and that would drive my mother
well,
crazy, man. I've always just been very
yeah,
free
but
spirit, loosey goosey, not like structured.
but I think, what if we did that? Like, what if like it's a new year? Like we're sitting on December 31st. For those of you listening, December 31st, 2025. What if like that was one of our goals for this year?
I think
Is
that's a
just to
really
kind of
great
put
goal.
is just to kind of put like a definition of what retirement could look like. And I think like this needs to be like some massive like I'm thinking of like it's not like all of a sudden you have like this math formulas floating. No, it's not that. It's just like it's just like sitting down and saying, hey, what what would a decent retirement look like in my head, and then what does it and meeting with somebody to say, like, hey, uh this is what I want to do for retirement, right? What will actually get me there over the next 10, 5, 8, whatever the number is for you and for me and for the people listening. Just sitting down with somebody, and a lot of times those meetings are free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the downside of that is that somebody's going to be that on that other side of the table that says you are you've been screwing up, right? Like that's a hard
Yeah.
conversation. Or hey, you're not gonna get that life. Now you can aim for a different life, right? And but at least you have that conversation. It's like going to the doctor and like instead of thinking you have cancer, knowing whether you do or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's like
We actually hired a financial planner this year, and we had our initial thing a month or so ago, and then January
nice.
12th we have like the real like first like let's figure things out. So exactly what you're saying. So yeah, I mean I'm sure it'll be a difficult conversation, but it's got to happen. It has to
It's
happen.
gotta happen, right? Like, and I think that like setting a goal for 2026, if whether you act on it, don't act on it as in like you deploy the plan or not, that's a whole different question. But I think you should at least, or you should know, I should know, everybody that's listening should at least take one step, which is define what good looks like, and figure out, is good achievable, or do you need a different version of good, or do you keep version of good that you have defined, and then you build a plan to match what good looks like, right? Like so, like one of my things that I've been telling Monica for probably the past 10 years is I don't want to retire in the U.S., right?
Wow.
Because my viewpoint is like in order to retire in the US, you need X amount of money, whatever X amount means, right? But you could probably like use a lot less from your retirement on a yearly basis and live a lifestyle that is probably the same as here in a different country, right? And so
Mm.
So that's something I'm like, oh, that way I can like maybe I don't have to wait till I'm 65. Maybe I can just like check out at 60 because I have, whatever X amount that I can like draw
Yeah.
from. And
Where
then,
would you
at some
go?
point.
Where are your top
Uh
like five?
yeah, I've so India is somewhere in the five, right? It's not my top number one, but it's definitely number two or number three
Because
from
you've
that
been there a
perspective.
million times.
Yeah, and it's home, right? Like at the end of the day, it is home from that perspective, families there, etc. And so I think that is definitely, but the India that I never grew up there, but like the India that I'm used to and the India that's there now is very different, right? Like so it's changed
Mm,
quite a bit. It's
hmm
just a faster pace. But I go home once a year and I'm like, I could do this. Like I could live here. I could definitely live like where we live in India. And so it's there. I'm actually looking at like places like Panama,
Okay.
and I looked at I'm doing some research, but right, I'm probably this year in 2026 actually. I may actually end up going to like Panama for a visit and then Uruguay for a visit.
You haven't been there before?
Never been there before.
Wow, that's cool. That's very cool,
Yeah.
man. I never thought about that. I'm also
It's
not the
just
world traveler that you are.
yet like we're gonna take this show on the road and then we will be. But it's I think the thing is like it's and I've had this conversation with other friends who have kind of either lived in other parts of the world, grew up in other parts of the world, travel a lot, and I'm like, like let's say your average expenditure in the US for a given month to maintain a whatever lifestyle. I'm just gonna make some numbers up. Let's say it's like 5 grand a month, right? You can probably get the same exact lifestyle in a different country, somewhere in South America, with pretty good healthcare, etc., for maybe 1,500 a month.
Hmm.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so now there's two things. Either you can continue to work till whatever age you want to work till and then retire and then your funds last longer, or you can say, I'm actually not going to work till 65. I'm just going to work till 58 and I'm done.
Yeah,
It just
that's when
gives you
I
yeah,
was just going to say my dad retired at 57. Was like, "Man, that's
nice.
amazing." Cuz he
That's
realized
crazy.
something about it. If he went back to teaching the following year, he was going to be making the same that he would in retirement or something, but there was something where he's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't need to work till I'm 65." It's like be done at 57 like, "Oh my god, can you imagine if I retired in 6 years? That would be amazing."
It's
I just saw a
possible.
TikTok today of some lady who retired at 48. I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Comparison
The
is the thief of joy. Comparison is
comparison
the
is the
thief
thief
of
of
joy.
joy. Yeah. But
But
I
I
do
was
read
like,
a lot
oh
of
man.
where those people sometimes they do get bored though. Like when you retire too early.
Yeah, you got to stay busy with something, some kind of
Something.
purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's an article about this guy. He sold I can't remember the company that he sold, but he's like, I don't know, I think like mid 20s, early 30s, sold some company for like 5 or $10 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like traveled every country in the world and he's just like, I am so bored. Like,
Yeah, what am I going to do now?
yeah, I mean, now granted, like I think you and I would probably say like, yeah, I will take that boredom. Please,
Yeah,
sir.
exactly.
Happy to try on those shoes for a few days. So but yeah, no, it is kind of fascinating from that perspective. But yeah, I think that's the thing though. Like if you think about it, like if like nothing changed, right, like in your life or the next, for 2026, I think at least defining what that end goal looks like and understanding like is it far, near, how do I get to that destination, what does destination look like, I think it'll actually help us a lot, man, especially where we are now in life. Like it just takes a little bit of a load off your shoulders.
Yeah, I think that's good. I took notes. I got it on here because that is, like I said, that is something I am not good at, as defining and strategizing and making a plan and working to that plan. I just kind of take things as they come, and you can't do that when you're in your 50s. You got to have a plan,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, I mean you're always supposed to have a plan, but I think it's just one of those things, right? It's like it's like somebody said to me the other day, it's like, hey, you can't drink like you're. I mean, they weren't talking to me, just to be clear. I stopped drinking, but they said you just can't drink like you're in your 20s when you're in your 40s. I was like, That is probably very sage. Like,
Well, that's very true. If I do drink, let's say I tie one on for a birthday party or something, which I never do anymore. But if I do, it's a Saturday. I'm still feeling it on Tuesday. Like I just can't do
hey,
it, man. You
speaking of
can't do
which,
it.
like, you remember that CBD drink that I had the other day when we met up?
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, that thing hit me later on. Like, I was like,
Really?
I like, because that thing had CBD and THC in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
And
my
like,
god.
like when I got home, Monica was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing." Like,
Oh my gosh, I
uh,
wish could have seen that. Oh my
that
god,
was
that's
crazy,
awesome.
man. Oh,
That's
maybe we
awesome.
should just do one episode
One of these
where we down one of those drinks each, and then we go at it.
I'm sure it'd be very engaging.
Oh man, that's crazy. You guys got plans for the rest of this week? New Year's or staying home?
No. No plans. We usually every year go to Great Wolf Lodge during
Oh
this
yeah, yeah,
week,
yeah,
but
yeah.
my son broke his collarbone a
Are you
month ago.
serious?
Yeah, and so the doctor was like, "Nah, you can't go to Great Wolf Lodge. It's not going to be healed in time." So, no, we don't have any plans, which is totally fine with me. Like,
He broke his collarbone playing soccer, right? Soccer?
yeah, yeah. On November 13th, it was my birthday, and so I
Oh,
spent my
jeez.
I spent my birthday in the hospital with him. But yeah, so I think mid-January he's able to kind of start doing stuff again. I mean, he's not wearing a sling or anything anymore, but the orthopedic is just like, nah, you can't really. It's not fully healed yet. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's been yeah, and he's super into soccer, man. So not being able to play,
yeah, that
uh,
sucks.
he's just like been going stir crazy. Like,
I can imagine. Yeah. So my son, who's 15, like he plays football for Woodstock High School, right? And
mm-hmm.
we actually, he wanted to play CYB, the Cherokee Youth Basketball.
Okay,
It's a rec basketball league that's here
yeah,
in Cherokee County, right? And he was like, "Hey," like he told me like last year. He said, "Hey, next year, all my friends and we're just gonna set up a team. You and this other guy are gonna be our coaches, right?" And I said, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, because and so they did it, man. Like he actually recruited. Like, there's 10, 12 kids on the team. He and a couple other friends recruited everybody. So it's all friends. It's just which is I absolutely love that for them. Like they have a
yeah,
blast, like practices and games. There's no like yelling at each other, nothing. They're just having a blast, right? And I told so I'm the assistant coach and the head coach like is another friend of mine. His son plays on the team as well, and we just said, hey, there's only one rule here, like just have fun. I'm like, you win, you lose, we don't care. You shouldn't care. Just go, right? You want to foul out? Go foul out in the first 5 minutes. I don't care. Like, you want to only shoot threes? No problem. Only shoot threes. Like, so, but so we do this, we arrange everything. Son is super excited. Uh, First practice of CYB, 3 minutes in, my son goes up for a layup, comes down, and he just like stops, and then he just hobbles over to the side. And I was like, assistant coach, and I saw him, and he didn't come back in. I was like, hey, bro, you okay? He's like, something is weird with my leg. Like he said, I've never felt it do that before. And I was like, oh god, what is that? Like, so, and he's a football player, right? So I'm like, that is kind of weird. I mean, you have people jumping on you, and he's a lineman
right,
too, So like,
right.
I'm not like, and so then he just sits down, man, and he sits down, and I'm like, check on him a couple of minutes, and I was like, how's it going? He's like, it hurts a lot. And he's like, if you look at it, and you can see it, like, it immediately started swelling his left leg.
Mm.
So we then, I'm, for this, but like for people that are listening, I'm 5'7". My son is about 6'2", right? He's a big dude, and so like I wasn't able to like get him. So like I had to get like the teammates to like help him to the car. Uh, it's crazy. And so, yeah, man. Like, and so basically what happened is like, so you ever heard of this Auschwitz slaughter?
Well,
Which
yeah,
is,
my son had that too a couple of years ago. He got hit at soccer, and yeah,
Yeah. So basically, it's that they have a gap between their growth plates, right? And so it creates a lot of movement in those, and especially in the knee joints. And so that's basically what happened is like basically like because of the gap, his thigh bone and his shin bone, like shin bone or whatever bone, they kind of jammed when he went for the
Mm.
rebound, and it created like a slight fracture at the top part of the bone. Basically, is
Oh,
basically what happened.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
yeah, long story for to basically say that that was kind of crazy too because he was on crutches for 2 weeks. Man, he went
yeah.
like he didn't go crazy, but you could tell like he was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like
Yep.
and football season was still in season, so he was like standing on the sidelines and just like we felt so bad watching him on crutches, him watching the game. It broke crushed our heart. Like
Oh
he would
man.
just like the whole team would run out and then he would like hobble out on his crutches. I was like, that sucks, man.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
the last 2 seasons, my son had to sit out of the last few games of soccer because this year was the collarbone. Last year was the Osgood Slaughters. He got hit in the knee going for a ball. A guy like dove for it, hit him in the knee, and he went down. And we thought, oh my god, that looks like ACL, MCL. Like it looked
That's what we
bad.
thought too.
And he's in pain, and they take him off in the cart and go to the hospital and all. And they're like, no, everything's fine. It's just the growth plate, Osgood Schlatter. And so he had a knee brace and crutches for a while. But yeah, the last 2 seasons he's ended on the sideline. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is also like we thought the same thing. We were like, oh, it's got to be like ACL or something like that. And of course, I didn't realize this, but like ACL, that's automatically a year out.
Yeah, yeah,
Like anything
yep.
soft tissue related, like they'll fix it, but you're out for a year, right? And so, because I actually, one of the guys that works at a Thrive, the co-working location where I'm at, like they actually own, he actually runs all the medical trainers at all these games, right? So the company, like,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's Northside Hospital, but then he works for them.
yeah.
He manages the business that runs that. Anyway, what I was saying is like, so he was telling me, bro, a lot of people don't realize ACL tears, etc., that take the kids out or take a athlete out for 12 months, like the mental strain on that, like you don't
Mm.
know if that kid or athlete is going to come back into the sport or have they completely like just like lost any interest in it, right? Like he's like, it takes a lot of willpower to continue to work out and do stuff and stay active and then get back into the game when it's time. Like and I was worried about it. But long story short, my son is good. He is like he's playing basketball now and everything, so it's back to normal for him. But
When
yeah, that
was
was
that? How
scary.
many years ago was that? Last year?
No, this is like this this is in Octoberish of this
Of
year.
this year?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So yeah.
Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, so not so bad. So it actually worked out pretty well by the grace of God. So all good there. Awesome, man. So you guys are staying in town. We're also staying in town. This we don't usually do anything either. We just kind of hang out.
Mm.
Um, we're usually asleep by the time the new year rolls in.
I know
Like,
Andrew and I were talking about that last night. When the kids were little, we would get like we'd pull up a YouTube video from like China that already did the New Year's, or we'd pull up a countdown at like 8 o'clock and do it with the kids and send them to bed. But now they're a little older, so I think last year our son who's 13 stayed up, but I was out, man, because Andrea said yesterday she goes to our son, she's like, you remember you laid in our bed and we watched the countdown and daddy was over there snoring? He's like, oh yeah, just because we had to keep turning up the TV. So yeah, man,
oh, that's funny.
if I'm up past 9 p.m., that's a banner day.
Really?
So I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
if
yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yeah,
And I mean, to
yeah.
be honest with you, I just don't really care about that stuff anymore. I don't know. It's like watching the ball drop and all that. Like I don't, it doesn't really excite
Yeah.
me anymore. I don't feel like making the effort to stay up till midnight to watch that. I don't know. It's things change as you get older.
Yeah. We that I think like 3 years ago, 3 years ago or something. I think 3 years ago, we were actually in Paris
Oh,
for the New Year's, right?
wow.
And so that whole evening, like it was the night of the 31st. We got back to our hotel, and then I was like, guys, come on, like this is Paris. Like we gotta go. We gotta go watch whatever they do here in Paris. And nobody came, man. Like I was just like so
Really?
sad. Yeah, like my son was like I almost got my son. I was like, bro, I'll get you anything, man. Like whatever you want to eat. Like let's go. Like I mean, you tell me we're buying it, like but no, they were just like, no, dad, like it's because it was like to get to it was the Arc de Triomphe, which is like one of the major
Mm.
the attractions, and so that's where they did the ceremony, the whole thing. And we were watching it on TV, and it was like packed. Like there was not you were going to be like watching it from a distance, and so I was just like, yeah, maybe not the best thing. But then I was like, when am I going to be in Paris again for New Year's Eve? Like
Yeah, that sounds
it's crazy.
amazing.
It was good. That was a really good trip. We actually ended up going to Geneva from there by train
Wow.
the next day. It was amazing. It was totally awesome. Great places, great cities to visit. Paris and Geneva. Geneva has like the UN, the UN headquarters
Hmm.
there. Not I know they have a headquarters in New York, but like this is like where all the different
Right.
organizations like UNHCR and UNICEF, they all have their like things there. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty amazing to drive through that.
How often do you guys go on like out of country trips like that with the family?
We try to do once a year
Mm.
on average. We try. Like there's been times when we've gone like once every couple of years or whatever. Uh Sometimes we just keep it local, right? Local summer. Like this we're thinking about this summer doing it's I'm not completely sold on it. Like I love the concept of it, but I'll tell you explain. So Amtrak, right? The train service. They actually have a this is the longest Amtrak train. It goes from Chicago to San Francisco, and it's like
My God, was it like a
50.
week?
No, it's actually just like 55 hours, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, we were looking at that to do that. Just fly into Chicago, take the train down to San Francisco, and then fly back from San Francisco. And it's not. The only thing is like, which is crazy about the U.S. is that trains are costly compared to Europe or
Yeah.
other parts of the world. Like
Yeah, we just don't have as many.
we don't have as many, but like I feel like if you want more people to ride, right, then you kind of need to, like, you're actually what is it? Not disenfranchising. You're what's the right word? But basically, you're making people not spend the money to use your service, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's so costly. I'm not going to use it. And then you
Yeah.
complain like we are running in losses. Like, well, I feel like if you dropped your prices a little bit, then more people would use it, and then you'd be back in the black.
But
This
isn't it
is
also
kind
that
of
we don't really have the infrastructure for, compared to Europe as far as rail and things like that? Because I mean, I was in a singing group that sang on the inaugural run of the Acela train in 2002, one, something like
really.
that, from Washington D.C. to New York City, then to Boston. It was like the first run of it. They had all these diplomats on there. I met Dr. Ruth, and that was super cool. But then you realize that's not everywhere. That's not super. It's not super attainable. Like
Yeah,
it's not. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that's an issue too. Like, man, I would love to, instead of flying, driving to the Atlanta airport, sitting there, flying to Florida, and then, I'd rather hop on a train and, you know, from here and go down there. But I also don't want to pay as much or more than a plane ticket to go there. You know what I mean?
100%, man. Like so, like we like think about this. So to fly, let's just say like to fly four people from Chicago to San Francisco on average, depending, not like at peak season, but like on average, day, it probably is going to cost us like four people, probably cost you about what, like maybe like $1,500 all
Mm-hmm.
in, right? Like when you think about all four tickets, and those are round trip tickets, right? Chicago to San Francisco is probably $1,500. This one is like four people, one way train ticket. Now, granted, it includes like food and all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like, and it's
meals and stuff. Yeah.
meals and all that stuff, but like it's like $2,500
Mm.
or almost 3 grand. Like, and I was like, come on, man, like what the
Yeah.
heck, that's gonna it doesn't make
So
any
you're not
sense.
you're not sold on going yet then?
So I was thinking, I was like, oh, maybe it's better if we just like do the train thing in Europe, because you can do a
Yeah.
overnight train, and like you can get like a basically it's kind of like a bedroom, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For four people, and they're super nice, like they're well designed, etc. And you have your own bathroom and stuff. And it was like $500 for four people, and I was like, now, granted, like your flights are costlier,
Yeah,
right, to
you gotta
get
get
there and
there.
all that. Yeah, no, but and yeah, but so there's definitely now. Granted, all these are like first world problems in the grand scheme of things, um, but yeah, it was just like, but we've always tried to like travel, and there was like a really interesting quote that not quote like this thing I saw on YouTube, that families just like travel together basically, right? It is interesting how like when you travel with your family, you may have like whatever differences and you may argue about Starbucks or whatever, but like when you land in a whole new country, you're one team. Like
Yeah.
you're watching it, you know what I'm saying? It kind of creates like this camaraderie and stuff. And yeah, we've been very lucky, man. We've been really blessed to do some really amazing trips. We did Shanghai, we've done Italy, Paris, London,
Wow.
India. I've taken the kids down to India a couple of times. We've never, but yeah. So, and I actually want to take them to like, I think, so Monica and I were talking because there's direct flights to Cape Town from Atlanta.
Okay.
Cape, and it's like a 12-hour flight, but it's super easy. Like you just jump on a flight and you're all the way in the bottom part
Yeah.
of South Africa.
The the bottom tip of wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure, man. So those are some things that I'm one of those people, I just like to plan travel. That's one of my fun things to do.
Wow. Yeah, I never grew up doing that. We never did that. It's not
I didn't grow up doing it either. Like my parents never,
really.
like, I mean, we were just, I mean, we were middle class folks that my both my parents worked. We lived in Saudi. I grew up in Saudi,
Yeah.
but never really traveled. But travel for us was just going back home to India once a year,
Mm.
which is very
Wow.
common for people that live in that part of the world. So yeah, but
I mean, I think it's amazing that your kids have those experiences then because it's going to make them much more well-rounded, worldly people just naturally. Where I come from a town of 1,000 people in Wisconsin, that's my like core memories and where my whole worldview was a mile long. So I think it's amazing that you expose those to different cultures and different cities and the travel and like, God, it's gonna make them amazing adults and um, I mean, your kids have had 1,000 more experiences than I have at 50 some years old. Like, I think that's
no, same
incredible,
here, man.
man.
Yeah, no,
That's
same here.
amazing.
Yeah, we're very blessed
I
from
think
that
it's
perspective.
important to, I think that's really important to expose them to different cultures and people and areas as much as you possibly within your power to expose them to different things and then they can decide what they like, what they don't like, what they accept and reject. And like, I just think that's when I had this big epiphany when I moved from Wisconsin to Atlanta, where there's 6 million people, and I'm experiencing different things and different. I'm like, what? It was mind blowing. But I mean, just that little move for me just opened my mind to other things in the world and other cultures and experiences. And like, I can't imagine going to India and France and Cape Town and like, I mean, wow.
Yeah, yeah, it is crazy. Like so, I had a really interesting experience. Not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. We normally go to the church down here, Woodstock City, and a friend of mine goes to a church out in Tucker,
Hmm.
Georgia, right? And she was like, "Hey, you should come. It's been a while." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went to this church. It was really cool, man. It was just like amazing for me because like so there was this massive church, uh, and I was expecting like these people, like this group of folks. I thought it was like a pretty big church, and so when you look at the building, it's a massive church, and they have all these buildings. When I walked in, I realized that there was a probably like at the same time, maybe like 8 to 10 different small churches that had rented
Mm.
space and they're running their own service. So like I went up one floor and there was like this I want to say African. I don't know which part of Africa they were from, but like an African church. And then like I went down to another place and there was like a Vietnamese church. Like and then like there was an Indian church where my friend is and I was like, how cool is this? Like all in like one building on a Sunday.
Wow.
all had their, it was amazing, man. Like you could hear hymns and like, like it was prayers in all different languages coming from different parts of the building. I was like, this is
No
really
way.
neat. Yeah.
That's super cool.
It was really cool, man. I was like, I was just, and I thought to myself, like, this is good. Like this, it's something about that really made me smile. To
Hmm.
go to a building where you had the same faith, but all these different people practicing their faith in their own language with their own little community. And these are, people, like these churches are like 50, 100 people max in the room.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, man.
Well, the the Catholic church that I used to be at, that I was working at and going to every, I think once a month or once a quarter, the local Lithuanian community would come and have mass on us. In
Yeah.
between, our masses were 7 o'clock, 8:30, 10:30, 12:30, and then the next one was 6 o'clock. So in that space from like 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, the Lithuanian community would come in. They'd have a 3 hour mass and whatever, and it was very, very cool
Yeah, I
to
love
see
that.
that, and experience that different kind of culture and different aspects of life. And yeah, it was really cool. I mean, the their priest is up there in doing mass in their native language, and they're singing hymns and prayers, and it's like, it's mind blowing, man,
It
mind
is
blowing.
mind blowing. Yeah. When I travel, I try to go to church in different countries. Um,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I did, like, I went to a service, a Lutheran church service in Amsterdam. It was
Okay.
pretty, I mean, the hymns sound exactly the same. Like you're like, oh, I don't understand what they're saying, but I know what they're saying. Like,
Yep.
because I know
Yep.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
hymn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like me and a coworker, we went to a mass in Madrid. It was amazing, man. Really cool.
Wow. I went
Yeah.
to went on a mission trip to El Salvador in 2010, and we went to mass at the big cathedral in San Salvador. And it was just like such a mind blowing experience because it's so different but so the same. It was, it's just wild. It's like, man, I have no idea what they're saying, but I know what they're saying. Like, yeah, to your point. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. One thing we should do maybe in a future episode is you and I should just go on like a mission trip to like Honduras or someplace like that.
that would be amazing.
Yeah, we should do an episode from out there.
That'd be amazing. I love to do that kind of stuff, and just help and make a difference and make an impact. Like, that would be super cool. That would be super cool. And we'll take a train.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, probably not the best way to get down there,
Yeah,
but yeah,
cool.
with that, my friend, happy New Year to
You
everybody
too,
listening
buddy.
and to you. Yeah, this is great, man. I'm so glad we kicked off the end of this year
Me too. I
with
was excited to see it on my calendar. I'm like, all right. I'm
yeah,
I love
for
doing this.
sure. For sure, man. All right, with that, wrap it up.